Good morning and welcome to my show. I'm your host, Danny Graham, and I both invite and encourage you to walk with me on the road to wisdom. Come on, y'all. Let's walk. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is March the 25th, Monday morning, bright and early. And we're back with another addition to my show, and that is the road to wisdom. We're going to continue on our road to the 12-part series of Slaying the Giants. We last ended with, I think the last giant we ended with was, I want to make sure I tell the correct giant we talked about was resentment. Resentment was the last giant we talked about. And today we're talking about the giant called temptation. He may be one of the worst out of all the 12 giants. But temptation is who we're talking about today. And boy, temptation, whew, it is a humdinger. It is a humdinger. Before we get into it, like we always do, I like to give a definition of the word, and then we're going to go ahead and get into it. But today, I'm going to give a definition, or maybe the plain word temptation that we see here in today's culture. Then I'm going to give you a biblical definition of the word temptation. So, start off with today's regular temptation. Definition is the desire to do something, especially something wrong or unwise. That is the basic definition of temptation. The desire to do something, especially something that is wrong and unwise. Now, the biblical definition of temptation is a little bit different. It is a situation in which one experiences a challenge to choose between fidelity and infidelity to one's obligations toward God. Say it one more time. Temptation in the biblical sense is a situation in which one experiences a challenge to choose between fidelity and infidelity to one's obligations toward God. I'm going to go ahead and give you one quote about temptation. When I saw it, I said, yes, I'm going to definitely. I got two quotes. I like to do one at the beginning and then one at the end of the show. The first quote from temptation is, opportunity may knock only once, but temptation leans on the doorbell. Whoo! I love that one. That's something that should go on a t-shirt. I'm going to say it one more time. Opportunity knocks only once, boop, but temptation leans on the doorbell. Temptation is going to continue to come at you, come at you, come at you. You think it's gone, and guess what? It's standing around the corner. Here I am. That's how temptation is. Now, in today's culture, temptation can come in all shapes, forms, and sizes, all different kind of things that you didn't think was temptation. When you sit down and really break it down, and I'm like, that's temptation. And one of the things that I've been battling with for a long time, temptation, is food. Whew. I live in the South, family, most of our family, a little overweight. We love to eat. Christmas time, we eating barbecue. Thanksgiving time, we eating turkey and dressing, collard greens, butter beans, all that good stuff. I was raised up with my grandparents and my uncles and aunts and cousins eating stuff like chitlins and hog maws and pig feet and all that kind of crazy stuff. I don't eat none of that stuff. Didn't eat it back then, don't eat it now. But we live in the South, man. The South has very decadent desserts and very hearty meals, macaroni and cheese, hamburgers, steaks, French fries, hamburgers, hot dogs, uh, low country ball, if you know what that is, uh, lobster, shrimp, crab legs. It's a smorgasbord of food. And if you're not strong, man, you can eat that food, and before you know it, man, you 300, 400 pounds, unhealthy, diabetic, high blood pressure, going through the roof. At my heaviest, I was 310 pounds, 310 pounds. Thank goodness I was able to lose some weight. In the past months, I've lost right at 60 pounds, and I want to go. I want to get about 230 is my goal. So I'm about 20 more pounds away from that. But I'm telling you, the South, boy, whew, and that's all over the world, not even the South, but in the South is one of the worst parts of the country where food is a temptation. I don't know if some of you follow basketball. There's a player in the NBA. His name is Zion. Williams, and he is a phenomenal athlete, but he battles with weight problem because and he lives and he plays for New Orleans Pelicans, and Louisiana, they have all that stuff that you're not supposed to have. That's so good. And some of you may have known basketball player Charles Barkley. His nickname was a round mound of rebound, and he battled with being overweight. When he came in the NBA, I think he was over 300 some pounds, but of course he got with a team, and one of the players on the team kind of took him on his wing and made him lose weight. When he got to a certain weight, he was able to be a dominant. He's one of the top 75 players of all time. He's in the Hall of Fame. Right now he broadcasts for TNT, but he had a weight problem. A lot of people have weight problems. I guarantee you, we know somebody in our lives that have weight problems, and food is a temptation. Another temptation too, man, is the flesh, lust, pornography, on the strip clubs, that kind of stuff. Sometimes that can be a such a temptation that it can make you lose your profession. It can make you lose your career. It can make you lose your family. It can make you lose your wife. It can make you lose your husband. You saw what it cost Adam and Eve. They were tempted by the devil. It cost them to be kicked out of the Garden of Eden. All through the Bible, we see temptation. The favorite as David was, he was tempted by Bathsheba. Sent Bathsheba's husband, Uric, I think his name was, sent him to war to surely get killed, to try to hide what he had done. I'm sure that David was tempted by Delilah, and look what it cost him. All throughout the Bible, we see about temptation. The flesh is weak. You see a naked man, a naked woman, or whatever, and you just lose your mind and all kinds of stuff. Temptation in the form of the flesh. Another thing is alcoholism. Some people lose their careers, lose their same thing. If you can lose it, some of these things that tempt you can cause you to lose it. Alcoholism is running rampant all over the world, all over the United States. People lose their jobs. There's a such thing called a functioning alcoholic. But you can tell, man, sometimes a person drinks so bad that it causes their skin to be discolored. I've seen people that my age, and when I was even younger, when they drink so much liquor, malt liquor, heavy wine, all that kind of stuff, and when you see them, they like it ages them. It ages them. They don't even look the same age you are. I know I was in my 30s, law enforcement in Lexington, and I saw some of the people I graduated with, and they looked like they were in their 50s. And I was just in my 30s. I knew they were my same age because I graduated with them. It's crazy. Not to mention what it does to your liver. Some people drink themselves to death. Someone who I used to work with in my past department, I found out just recently that he died. And one of the reasons when I asked, how did he die? Was he sick or anything? They said, no, he drank himself to death. So, I mean, alcoholism. It's crazy. Drugs. Meth is running rampant. Cocaine is running rampant. Heroin is running rampant. All kind of crazy stuff. Fentanyl is running rampant. All that kind of stuff people can get easily addicted to. Oxycodone, all kind of stuff. And I was in one of the departments I worked with. There was also he was squared away, man. I remember him good, and he was squared away in a certain division. And he went to a grocery store and he fell and he hurt his back, and the doctor prescribed him oxycodone, and he got hooked on it, and it cost him his career because he couldn't beat it. Narcotics, drugs, cocaine, heroin, all that crazy stuff, heavy narcotics. Fentanyl now is just running rampant. Meth is running rampant. The stuff's for addictions. There are temptations. And once you get that first hit, I'm told by people that are hooked on it or have been hooked on it and were fortunate enough by the grace of God was able to beat it. They were like, man, that high is like nothing you've ever seen before. And then you always try to go back to get that high. And in some cases, you'll never get that high. You're chasing that high. You're tempted. You try to get off of it, go do the right thing, and next thing you know, you have a bad day or something happens to you, and guess what? And he speaks in your ear, man. Go to that spot, get that stuff, take your man off of this, man. You don't need all this stress on you. Go ahead and take that. Only do it one time. Once you do it one time and get your mind right, then you can go back, and then that one time turns to two, two times turn to four, four times turn to eight, eight times turn to 16, and it keeps going exponentially bigger and bigger and larger until you are down in the gutter, till you're just a walking zombie. That's what those drugs can do to you. Drugs can do it to you. Another thing is money. Sometimes people chase that dollar. There's a time in my life when I chased the dollar. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. I chased that dollar. Didn't do nothing illegal, but I wanted. I would work like crazy sometimes, job to job to job, chasing that dollar. And all I had to do was really just pray to God and say, "Look, God, give me what I need. Make a way." And God would have made a way. But I thought the only way I knew how to get what I wanted was to work hard. There's nothing wrong with working hard, but not to the point where that's all you're thinking about. All you're thinking about, not giving God His time, His respect, His due. Not spending a relationship, developing a relationship with God because you're too busy trying to chase a dollar. There's something wrong with that. But when you're trying to chase a dollar to provide for your family, to pay your tithes, to do things to help other people, and then you still have time for God. There's nothing wrong with that. When your chase for money overshadows everything and God becomes secondary, that's a problem. God can only be in one place in our lives. That's the primary number one spot. He's a jealous God. He tells us this, and He's going to be number one. If you want to have eternal life, if you want to have your name written in the book of life, you have to put God first before yourself, before your wife, before any other human being on this planet, any other temptation on this planet, any other thing that's going to draw your attention away from God. You need to get rid of it. Another thing people get tempted by is power, being in certain positions, having power and influence. If you have power and influence and you use it in the right way, use it in a way that's going to help people, that's going to benefit God, that is going to uplift God, and you pray to God, Lord, this power and influence that I have, Lord, let me use it in a way that's pleasing to you, a way that's going to help people and not help myself, but help other people and give me the power and influence to change lives and to drive people to develop and start a relationship with you, with those that may not have started or develop a relationship with you. Then that's what God wants you to do. God is pleased with that. When you use this power and influence for your own selfish gains, that's when the corruption gets in. And when the corruption gets in, a lot of times anything goes. And when anything goes, that leads to the road of destruction. That leads to your name being erased and strike out the book of life. And you don't want that. And another thing people like to get tempted for is fame. These superstars, these athletes that get paid this exuberant amount of money. I mean, it's just crazy. Millions to bounce a ball, millions to play a guitar, millions to sing a song, millions to act, all this kind of stuff. And that fame just goes to their head. They don't know how to to not get the big head, not have the ego grow exponentially, and they're just becoming just full of themselves. You become full of yourselves and think that you're it and that your stuff don't stink and that you're it, and you don't think about God. A lot of times these people get these awards. Have you ever seen them or hear them say, "Give it unto God, my Lord, Lord of my life"? Sometimes I wonder, based on their actions and things I read about them and things I see them do on different videos and stuff. I wonder, are they really thankful for the blessings that God gave them, or is it just a cliche that they say so it sounds good? God knows whether or not you're being sincere or not. God knows whether or not you using Him as a cliche, or you're really thankful. Are you really thankful? And two of the most memorable temptations in the Bible that makes me think about this whole word slaying this giant called temptation is when Eve was tempted in the Garden of Eden by Satan. Then she took back that to her husband, and it cost them paradise. It cost them their lives, more or less, because as long as they obeyed God and lived in the Garden of Eden, they lived forever. They would never be exposed to sin. But once they bit from the tree of life, the tree of good and evil, then that guess what? Then they knew things that God didn't want them to necessarily know. When Satan was able to possess a snake and then use his many tools in his toolbox to tempt Eve by taking that apple. Look, I don't want you to have this apple because then you'll be just as wise as him. Why you don't? Why you can handle it? You can do it. It's not going to hurt you. And look what it did. It definitely hurt us. It hurt her. It hurt Adam. Caused certain things that God punished us for, punished them for, and in a sense, punished the whole world because of their mistakes, because of the temptation they received and they failed to from God. But I'll say it this time and I'll say it again. God moves. God knew Eve was going to do that. God knew that Satan was going to use the snake. He knew all that. But God moves and he thinks in a different way that's so far above us that we'll never, ever be able to conceive his thought patterns. We'll never be able to conceive why he does what he does and when he does what he does, but it makes sense to him. If he chooses to reveal it to us, those of us that make it to heaven, then he'll do it. But if not, God is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. He's the omnipotent one. He is all powerful. He is all knowing. We will never, ever be able to fully understand and grasp how he moves, how he thinks, why he does what he does. But God is a just God. He gave us free will. Either you choose to follow his rules and regulations, or either you choose not to. If you choose to follow his rules and regulations, then guess what? Your name will be in the book of life and you will hear the words, well done. And your gift, your prize will be eternal life. If you choose not to, then guess what? You're going to be in the fiery pit called hell. Down there with Satan and his boys. And I don't think nobody in their right mind wants to be down there in that situation. Second temptation in the Bible comes from the book of Matthew, the fourth chapter, the first to the 11th verse. The fourth through the 11th verse. And it reads as follows. Then was Jesus led up to the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. First, let me set the stage. Jesus had just been baptized by John the Baptist. And immediately after being baptized, the Holy Spirit led him into the wilderness, where there he was going to fast for 40 days and 40 nights. There have only been 3 other people in the Bible that I've read that fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. That person was Moses, second person was Joshua, and the third person was Elijah. And now Jesus is fasting in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. And this is when Satan comes to try and tempt him, just when he's finished. This was when Jesus was led to the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and was hungry. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of God, command these stones to be made bread. But Jesus answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Then the devil taketh him to the holy city and setteth him on the pinnacle of the temple. He said unto him, if thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Jesus said unto him, it is written again, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Again the devil taketh him to an exceedingly high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them, and said unto him, all these things I will give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then saith Jesus unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. Then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. Now this shows you that Jesus, who impossible to have sinned, not only resisted the devil, resisted the enemy, but he gave him God's word. These are the same things, the same tools that God has given us. God is not going to put more on you than you can bear. God is not going to have temptation so much in your face, so much in your person, so much in your vicinity that you're not going to be able. He's going to give you a way out. He's going to have some way that if you fall on him, if you ask him, you will be able to avoid that temptation. Yesterday, I was, not yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, I went to my cousin's house, and me and her husband, we probably talked about 2 or 3 hours. It was a fantastic talk. We talked the entire time about Jesus, about God, about how God changed our lives and things he wanted to do and how we were blessed, and just talk about the growth spiritually that we all been through from being. He and my cousin were married about 30, I think he said 31 years. This year, me and my wife were like 28, soon to be 30 in a couple of years. And it was like, man, it didn't even seem like that, but we come such a long way, especially spiritually. And God teaches and tests, like I always say. And when you think about things, God will not. I'm gonna say this again. I don't want to sound redundant, but God is not gonna put more things on you than what you can stand. He's always gonna find a way that if you pray to Him, if you are prayed up, you can avoid temptation. I remember one of the conversations that my cousin's husband was saying that he'd ride down this road sometime when he was one. But it's kind of clear as head and get out of the house. And then we kind of jokingly said, well, yeah, you can do certain things, but you got to make sure, like if you listen to a certain music or you go to hear a certain song or a certain situation arrive, that certain song, situation, or going down a road don't lead you to the temptation. But a lot of times, I just use it as an example. Make sure that dirt where you're driving don't lead you to Sally Sue house. He said, yeah, exactly. And make sure if you listen to music, it don't make you do things like pick up the phone and call Bobby Joe because you and Bobby Joe used to be, you know, hookup partners or whatever the case may be. Make sure if you go to a certain place that they don't lead you to doing things you used to do before you were a believer, before you got saved, before you gave your life to God. So that is what um, praying will help you do. When those situations that when you heard that song, or when you went down that road, or when you saw that particular person, you don't do the same things you do or want to do. You may still want to do them, but but if you have the strength, you have the power to say, no, Lord, I'm not going to do that and take that out of my life. That's what God wants you to do. That's what Jesus encourage you to do. And that is what will happen each and every time a situation that presents itself as a temptation or once was a temptation to you. If you pray to God, if you pray it up and you ask for strength, you ask for the Lord to take this away from me, take this desire for this thing I used to want to do, and Lord, take it out of my life. The Lord will do it. The Lord will do it. Now, the other person, the enemy, he's going to try and do things. He's gonna try and go back around, circle back around. He see if you got a crack, and like my cousin husband says today, all the devil needs is a crack, a slither, and if he can get his crowbar in there and pry it open and pry it wide open, he's gonna go in there and he's gonna wreak havoc. You have to be prayed up. You have to have a strong mind. You have to ask the Lord and learn this word from my cousin to discern. Ask the Lord for discernment. Lord, is this the right thing to do, or is this temptation? Is this Danny wanting to do something, or is this you telling me you want to do something? You have to learn how to listen for God because sometimes, depending on your ego, depending on what you want to do, sometimes you think that the voice you hear in your head is God, but it actually is you wanting to do something. So you got to make sure that you learn to listen and learn to hear God's voice and learn to hear God's answer to your prayers and to your questions. Once you learn that, once you learn His voice and you learn how He comes to you, then you're gonna always be in a good place. But a lot of times, it's something that you really want to do. The devil can kind of get in there and try and distort that and make you think that he's something that he's not. Just make sure you always pray for and ask for discernment. Lord, let me be able to determine whether this really is what you want me to do or just something that Satan wants me to do. And once you be able to learn those different voices and learn what is cultural versus spiritual, a lot of time the culture looks good and sounds good, but it leads to the road of destruction. But spirituality and listening to God and staying prayed up and staying anchored in that foundation that is spiritual, it's going to always get you to the right place. Always going to let you do the right thing. So we got to make sure we be able to discern between the culture, today's culture, and God's spirituality. So make sure you do that. This is pretty much my 2 cents on this word, saying the giant called temptation. Temptation is a very, very strong, powerful emotion, and Lord, it will make the best of us fall. David was one of the best that God had, was handpicked by God, was favored by God, and he succumbed to temptation. So was Samson. If you read the Bible, all throughout the Bible, people that were favored by God fell to temptation in some shape, form, or fashion. Solomon, the wisest man on earth, wisest man ever, he fell to temptation. He met all those different wives, he had all those different religions, and guess what? They slowly but surely altered his relationship with God to a point where he didn't know God from a from a from Adam's cat. And it got so bad, and God punished him. But make sure that you stay grounded. Make sure you stay connected to God. Make sure you stay prayed up. Um, this past week, um, I could tell I was getting a little slack in my reading and stuff. So this last week, last Monday to this last Friday, I fasted every day from 10 p.m. the night before all the way to 5 p.m. the day of. I did that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And when 5 o'clock came, I was hunting something to eat, but I did not eat from 10 p.m. the night before to 5 p.m. that day. And I was trying to strengthen my connection and prove to God that I am serious about being his servant and serious about this religion. I want to be better. I want to be the best version of Danny that I can possibly be. And I want to learn, I want to grow, and I want to be able to read the Bible and read the word and talk with other people and socialize with other people and then regurgitate what I've learned, what I've said, and hope in hopes that it helps someone that may not have a relationship with God, that may be looking for a relationship with God but don't know how to start that conversation with God. Praying to God is just like talking to any person. You talk to God that same way. Get by yourself, get in your car, lay on your bed, and just talk to him. Lord, I know it's been X amount of years, months, days, whatever the case may be. I haven't talked to you, but Lord, I need help. I want guidance. I want, Lord, for you to come into my life and show me the right thing to do. Lord, I want you to govern my thoughts, my actions, and what I say. Lord, I want you to bridle my tongue when it needs to be bridled. And Lord, I want you to give me wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And Lord, most of all, I want you to make me slow to anger. Let me be able to discern this crazy world that we live in. Let me be able to discern what is right and what is wrong. Let me be able to discern what is the culture's beliefs and wants and what is your beliefs and wants. Lord, show me the way. I'm your humble servant, and all I want to do, Lord, is to serve you and to be the best version that I can possibly be in that service to you. Say something like that. God's going to hear you. God's going to hear you, and if you're sincere, God's going to answer your prayer. He's going to show you what you need to do. You just have to listen for him. Don't do what you want to do. Don't have this mentality that it don't matter. I don't care. It does matter. It does care because the devil wants to tempt you. The devil wants to destroy everything that you hold dear. The devil wants it to come into your house and wreak havoc. Last year, the devil was all in my house. But I prayed. I prayed, and Lord, I prayed and I prayed, and I can see a significant turnaround. I can see a significant turnaround. And I know it's only through the grace and mercy of God that turnaround I can see that turnaround. It has gotten much better than what it was. Devil's going to try and break these families up, especially if someone in the house is saved and is trying to do the right thing. He does not like that. He is going to try to destroy that. He's going to try to cause confusion. He's going to try to cause strife. He's going to try to cause temptation. He's going to try to cause anger, discouragement. All these giants he was talking about are his tools. He's going to try all of them. He's going to try all of them. And if you are not 16 sharp, he's going to get you on one of them. But you got to stay prayed up. You got to realize, even through the good times and the bad times, God is still on the throne. God is still the Alpha and Omega. All these different giants that we're talking about slaying, what you can slay them with is prayer. There'll be times you're going to feel anger. There's times you're going to feel discouragement. There's times you're going to feel doubt. There's times you're going to feel like you fail. There's times you're going to be fearful and scared. There's times you're going to feel guilty. There's times you're going to feel jealous. There are times you're going to feel lonely. There are times you're going to procrastinate because of the fear and the loneliness and other different things. And there's times you're going to feel resentment. All of these are giants. All of these are tools that the devil uses, that the devil has at his disposal to try and get you off track, to try and put that crack, to try to widen that chink in the armor that you have. But all you got to do is pray to God, and God will strengthen that chink. Let me say it one more time. All you got to do is pray to God, and God will strengthen that chink in the armor. You got to be sincere about it. because all these things I just named are tools in the devil's toolbox, and he is very good at using them and utilizing them. But he can't combat prayer. He can't beat God on his best day. Ain't gonna happen. Now, this is the 11th giant we're slaying, and on Wednesday will be the final giant. That that giant is called worry. We all worry from time to time, but that's going to be the last giant in these 12 series of the giant, slaying the giant, and we're going to go ahead and knock that out on Wednesday. Now, another quote about temptation. When I read it, I said, I want to definitely share this with the people. And that is, if you don't want temptation to follow you, don't act as if you're interested. Let me say it one more time. If you don't want temptation to follow you, then don't act like you're interested in that temptation. If you know that food is your temptation, then don't go to a restaurant that serves your favorite food. Don't buy things that you know that on a day of weakness you're gonna eat. If you like potato chips like I do, don't put them in the buggy when it's time to go grocery shopping. Don't put the Oreos in there. Don't put the ice cream in there. Don't put the potato pie in there. Don't put anything, honey bun, all the things that you know that you love and aren't good for you and they're gonna tempt you. Don't buy them. Don't act interested. If you're interested, you're probably gonna eat it. You're probably gonna eat it. Now, if this is the first time you ever see me, before I get to that, just wow, I know I was missing something. But let's say, for instance, some person come to you and they say, "Hey, Danny, I heard your broadcast. You're all right, but guess what? I don't believe in the Bible. I don't think there's a God. I think that when we die, we get reincarnated, we come back as something else, or we just go off into nothingness. I don't believe in that rapture thing. I don't believe in that heaven or hell. There ain't no heaven or hell. I just believe we die and we come back later on." Well, okay, that's fine. In the Bible, I don't believe it's a bunch of stuff it's from olden days and stuff. That stuff don't apply no more. This is a whole new world. This is what you need to tell those individuals, and the reason why you believe in God, and the reason why you believe in the Bible. You tell them, I choose to believe in the Bible because it's a reliable collection of historical documents written down by eyewitnesses during the lifetime of other eyewitnesses. They report to us supernatural events that took place in fulfillment of specific prophecies and claim that their writings are divine rather than human in origin. That comes from Reverend Pastor Vodi Bacham. Check him out on YouTube. Now, if this is the first time you ever see me on this platform, I'm going to actually do a couple things for me. First thing I'm going to actually do is please subscribe. It only takes a half a second. Boop, hit subscribe. There you go, done. Second thing I need you to do is hit that notification bell, the little bell right beside it. When you hit that notification bell and click on all, it's going to alert you each and every time that I upload something, any content, any material, it's going to alert you. And I don't want you to miss anything that I upload. Next, man, should leave me a like. Boom, click the like button, the thumbs up. That helps with the YouTube algorithm. So let's say, for instance, you punching in Danny Graham, you punch in the road to wisdom. It's going to pull me up faster. So you're able to click on there, subscribe to my channel, and then watch all my videos. I got over 143 of these bad boys on here. So I need you to watch them. Next, I'm going to actually leave me a comment. Any comment that you choose to leave, I will read and respond back to you. And if you have an idea about future shows, future topics, please leave it in there, and I will work on developing a show about that particular topic. I'm in the middle of developing a show now called This is the Word. I'm going to try to have that once a week on Sundays. I will invite different people, and we'll talk about specific stories and specific scriptures in the Bible once a week. It's going to be an hour-long show. It's called This is the Word. Look for it here in the next few weeks. Last but not least, watch all my videos from the start to the finish because that also helps with the YouTube algorithm. I hope that you have a fantastic day. And on Wednesday morning, we'll be back here at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll be going over the last giant. We'll be slaying that last giant, which name is worry. So until then, you have a fantastic day. Be blessed. Stay humble. Stay prayed up. God bless you.